about 2 acoustic guitars and how we approach that.
Okay, so grab your guitar and let's touch that really quick. 2 acoustic guitars, how do you approach it? If you were super spiritual in the beginning and you were eyes closed focusing on the Lord, you wouldn't have noticed what we were doing, but we were complementing each other. We were playing in different inversions of the same chord. And when you do that, it makes the guitar sound very full. But if you were like me, I would have been looking at the guitars as we got going. And
we almost never will play in the same shape. Occasionally maybe in a G, we'll both be playing G shapes, but then he will be playing things in the upper register, and I'll be playing down here, and that makes it full. Let's do Love Came Down.
Okay,
so we're both tuned down a full step. So I put my capo on and I play in the C shape, and he leaves it off and plays in the D shape.
I'm gonna salsa this one up because it's simple and I can play it really quiet. So they complement each other. This D shapes that I'm doing, the key of D, you're going to find those in Scott's thing. They are super tasty in worship. So I would recommend learning. There's your D, there's your G, there's your A, there's your B minor, the D over F sharp, nice and tasty. And you could do the A over C sharp.
And so he's a much more versatile guitar player than me. So when we approach, normally I'm doing the simple leading, and he can add all the flourishes that I don't do.
And with 2 guitars too, like she did, where she did constant rhythms, you can also add that. So I'm going to add a constant rhythm. It's almost like a lead guitar, and she's going to change the chords. So, go. Do the same song. So all I did was like a 1 and a 5 on the D shape, and you just repeat them.
That was the one thing I didn't mention. The first thing I taught Brendan, when you're on the piano, if you need to simplify, like if you hit the 1 and the 5, the notes within the scale, and just change your bass notes, you can play the whole song that way. I mean, it gets old, but those 2 notes can stay constant the whole time.
1 and 5s are your friend on every instrument in our worship scene. 1 and 5, 1 and 5. Mm-hmm. So if you ever lose it, you just default to 1 and 5. And I'll always just go like this. Especially if I'm playing lead guitar, and it's like, I don't know where I am, I just brain fart. And it works, and you never fail. So 1 and 5, 1 and 5, and just dance around that. Until gratitude comes and you got the funny chord at the end, then you fall apart.
Don't do that on those songs.
Yeah. So does that kind of show you what, so you're playing in different registers, different chord inversions, especially with 2 guitars. You know what that means? It's good to practice together outside of just sound check. It's like get together, say, hey, let's create these parts. Now for Kimberly and I, it's automatic now. We kind of know what we do.
But try to be intentional about not playing the same thing. If you're both just playing G-shaped chords and strumming, it's not broadening the sound.
Yeah.
Just
so on Thursday when Kim led worship with Pete, I get kind of jealous of that because
you can delete that too.
This is not going worldwide.
Pete Denham is watching the live show.
Oh, great, excellent. Hi, Pete. I'm jealous of you. I want to be that person. No, I was watching from home. I wasn't feeling good, and I noticed that she was playing the tones of mid-range on the piano, and that was her focus of her playing. And then I noticed Pete was stuck in like G shapes all the way up here, super tasty. And then he was just like, cable was messed up. And easy G shapes, but he was playing it tasty, and it was higher pitched in the EQ scale than what she was doing, and it just totally worked. So you were picking different frequencies to complement each other. If you've ever played a 12-string guitar, what makes a 12-string guitar sound kind of unique is it's got octaves on 3 of those strings, where you're playing higher notes on the guitar. Does that make sense? Super important. Be creative. Yeah.
So you're not talking about strum patterns, but I know guitarists didn't have like their strum pattern.
Yeah.
So how do you like learn other ones? Like I got my own. I'm like, this is the thing I like to play.
Yeah.
But you want to learn other types too.
Yeah. So there's when I analyzed my original strum pattern, I went all the way back to the Open the Eyes of My Heart.
the gallop strum.
So it's like, and then I tried to teach students that. So that was the.
Do without the.
Yeah.
But for different ones, I would listen to the original and see what they're doing and try to copy it.
So you can take, let's do the Love Came Down, and you can do like interesting stuff, and I wouldn't do this probably. But you play it. Let me see if I can make it work. Where this is like chunking the meat of it and playing.
Well, is there another song?
I don't know. Pick one. That was what the first thing that came to
But then,
mind.
like, if there's a few songs that have swings to them, which you would play different.
That's the swing pattern.
And so that's kind of a pet peeve of mine. When it is a swing, like the song has a swing to it, but the guitar player's playing it straight and the drummer's not, it doesn't mesh. So I would pay attention to that.
Yeah, and then I was talking about like more of a rock and roll chunk. But
Yeah, I know there are others.
yeah, I mean, you can do it with any song.
Blessed be your name.
Blessed be your name in the land that is planted for where the stream blessed be. So that's just chunking it. And then you could actually open it up from there.
I don't think so.
No, well, I mean, Phil does it sometimes too.
And she literally said, chunking it is the only way to play that song.
Oh, yeah. But
But you
can
could
get louder.
play the chunk.
which?
Play your chunk. Yeah, if you have 2 guitars, you could play it.
Yeah. Well, you could even do that high.
Yeah, anyway. So you don't both have to be doing that.
Yeah. So if anything, take away from the two guitars, you can be so creative. It just takes a little bit of sculpting.
So in order to, for strumming patterns, a good way to practice just three on the strings off and then just strum a pattern. And then,
Yeah, that's a good one.
then do it with notes. That way you can focus on one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing with acoustic guitar, you don't play all 6 strings for every chord. And if you start hitting some bass notes that are not in the chord, but you're emphasizing, like let's say I'm going to just use a B minor and have an E in the bass. You don't want to hit that. You don't want to hit that E. So you got to be careful that you're learning in your strum to identify the bass note exactly when you're strumming. Because you play a D chord, you're not hitting the E and the A string. So, but some people are like, well, you're not even hearing the D chord. So it's really precise in your right hand. Really precise in your right hand, yeah.
I have something to add too. A lot of times when you look up songs, like on, what's the app, the guitar app that everyone has?
Ultimate Guitar.
You'll see a lot of strumming patterns, up, down, down, up, down. I don't think like that when I play guitar.
Yeah.
You want to keep a constant movement and you'll feel how it's supposed to go. I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of up, up, down, down, down.
No, it gets so confusing.
Yeah, I've never like vibed with that ever. Which brings up another thing. Guitar players tend to be super stiff, especially if they're playing. So when they're strumming, their wrist is stiff. Everything's just stiff, and everything is stiff. You just gotta learn to relax. Just relax. Your arm is relaxed. Yeah.
So what's a good exercise to help your arms relax?
Don't drink coffee and chill out. I don't know. You just have to be consciously aware of that. Yeah. Sometimes body position, like if you're sitting in a chair all the time, scrunched up, you're not leaving room for your body to
I
kind
think
of.
a lot of the more you do something, you are more relaxed.
Yeah.
Because you're not so nervous
Yeah.
or whatever it is that's causing you to be tense too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that boy.
If you're playing guitar, you have to practice standing up, even if you're by yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a thing. It does help. Because let's say you were practicing sitting down, and especially with electric guitar, because sometimes your fingers are a little bit more, they need to be precise in what you're doing. And if you're practicing like this, and you can see it, then all of a sudden you stand up, and now I can't see the fretboard as good, and my wrist is in the same position, you just flub up, and it's a whole different feel. So it's better to practice standing up, generally. A lot of electric guitar is how you utilize your pedals and stuff. But you should be aware that electric guitar in modern worship is more texture than Van Halen. I just don't know how to put that. And so, if you can utilize your guitar to create layers of texture, it enhances the worship music. So, a lot of effects, but only a few effects is what you need. And then being very precise in what you play. There it is. These past few years, Pete has asked me to play electric with him, and there's a number of electric guitar players at church, but it's challenging because electric guitar has tons of different ways to like different ways you can texturize the music, and then you have the standard like just playing power chords and driving the music. But in worship, it's good to get out of the power chords and learn the parts to the song. So we'll do it with the app, but well, we do this. Play Love Came Down, and I'm going to texturize with the electric, and texturize Love Came Down, and hope it's in tune.
Just remember you're playing C now.
Yeah, okay.
Quality instrument.
Texture is huge, and you can play worship music by just doing texture, even in an upbeat song. So give me an upbeat song where you're not playing a ton on your electric guitar, but you're adding the texture. So just pick something in the middle and try it. Scales and stuff like that. I'm just playing chords and texturizing and being very dynamic. It's all texture. When we get into the multi-track section after lunch, you're going to see that some songs have been layered with 7 to 8 electric guitars. Which part do you learn? That's the challenge. And it's creating a guitar part when there's only one electric guitar player. So it's kind of fun.